G'day guys, and welcome to Dinkum DIY. Today we'll be teaching you how to build a temporary fence. For this project you'll need a few simple tools. You'll need 2 metal star pickets. These will be your supports for the timber. You need some 100mm by 12mm timber palings. These will act as your slats. You need a drill to drill your holes for the bolts. You need some galvanized bolts and nuts. These will not rust as quickly as they will as zinc. You can use better ones like stainless steel or treated pine, but galvanized ones are cheaper. You'll also need a mallet for knocking in the pickets, a saw to cut your timber. You'll also need a spirit level to make sure that your star pickets and your slats are level. A tape measure to measure off the length of each slat. A carpenter's square, this will help you keep a square line as you're cutting with the saw. A pencil to mark that line. Some earmuffs if you are using any power tools. Gloves for your timber and some glasses to protect your eyes. Alright, let's get started. So first, choose the location of where you're going to be putting your temporary fence. I'm going to be cordoning off this area here as I do not use it and I do not want Will getting down there. Now, get your star picket, measure about where you want it, so I only want a very small gate, so we'll put it about in line with the mortar line here. Now, my level has a magnet on here, making it nice and easy to find my level. Don't forget your mallet. Now once you've got your level, now due to being short, I have to grab this chair because you want as much downward force as you can get. Now, these are obviously not level, but I can't go any further with a rubber mallet. If I had something like a club hammer, it would work a lot easier. So, let's go and have a look what it looks like from the distance. Almost looks level. Now, we want to grab something a bit straight, so like mine, and make sure we can line up at least 2 holes to get our fixture. Now that we have both pickets in, we will now measure up our slats. So starting with the 2 holes that line up first, I'm pushing this one away to keep this one more level, and marking off where it meets the far edge here. If you do have any incorrections, you can fix this up later. Now, I'll grab my carpenter's square and we'll just square this off, ready to be sawn. Using a makeshift workbench, remembering which side is your rubbish and which one is your keep. Always mark it with a tick or a cross. This makes it a lot easier to identify. Now, so this part here is my keep. Start with just a few little shortcuts to get myself started. Always remember to cut on the left hand side of the line. Because you can always add more, you can always take more off but you can't add more back on. So scrap, get rid of that. Okay, let's move the workbench and see how this fits. There we go. So it's looking like it'll work. Now, grab your pencil and a beautiful looking assistant. So the assistant will hold the timber for you while you mark on the back where you need to drill your holes. Applying just a little bit of pressure with my knee on the workpiece. And just carefully drilling it there. Making sure not to drill too close to the edge because you may chip the project. Now on the other side. Now, if you find it difficult to do the holes, pre-drill your holes first. Until it comes through the other end. Alright. So take your level, sit it on your top slat, and just make sure it's nice and level. Mine's pretty spot on. So taking your two nuts, just lightly. You don't want to tighten these up just yet because you do have a lot more to go. Just slightly fix them on. And we've got our first slat in place. So as you can see, there is a bit of the clearance at the bottom there. I will be fixing that up later by using my drill, drilling through the steel and adding one more slat to the bottom there. Now let's go ahead and do the rest. So, after we've got all the slats on, we've had to make some adjustments by pulling the stakes out, laying it down, and putting all the slats in that way, just to make them a bit more level, and also make it a bit easier to get them on. Started getting a little bit harder as it was a bit tight. So let's get this last one on. So, that's our completed job. Now, you have noticed that there is some gaps in between all these. If you don't like that gap, you can easily just put panels on the other side, on the opposite side, or you can have panels on the front and give it a double layered effect, and just make sure you use a longer screw. Instead of using an 8mm by 25, use an 8mm by, say, 40, 45. This will give you that longer length to be able to get straight through and to be able to do it a lot easier. And with the bottom one, I'm not able to do that today, but what you would do is you would then drill another hole below this secondary one here. You would drill another hole below that, so you'd have this one, then you'd drill another one here, creating your bottom skirt. This would then make it a lot easier to be a child and pet safe temporary fence. Otherwise, you can leave it like this, very basic fence. I used the palings of old pallets to do these, which were, as I mentioned earlier, the 100 by 12 mil. And the steel pickets I picked up from a local hardware store for about 10 bucks each. Total project cost was, total project cost was about $25 once you included the cost of the bolts, which was about $9. Once you include the cost of the bolts, which was about $4.90 for a box of about 50. So that's how you make a temporary fence. Like this video, give it a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and comment below. Look forward to seeing you next time, guys. Okay guys, as you can see, a few days later I got annoyed at the way the other one looked. So I've decided to add a couple more panels up to the top, moved them all down, and made it look a lot nicer. Still have to fix the bottom part there. I can either drill the holes in the metal and put another plank in, or I can just hammer it in further. At the moment, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I've also added a block in the back here to stabilise the fence a bit more. So now it's a nice strong structure, doesn't move at all. So to do that, nice and simple, is all I did was undo the bolts, move them all down to the lowest hole, laid them on top of each other, drilled new holes, and put the screws in. Laid them on top of each other and put the bolts in. This was a lot easier than the previous way of doing it, because all I had to do was lay them on top, drill, and put the bolt through. To do all that took me about 5 minutes. To do the other way took me about half an hour. So I would highly recommend doing it this way more.